Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to unpack source material, really pull out those key nuggets of insight for you. Today, we're diving into something that, might sound a little formal at first glance. It's the constitution for an organization called Homes at Rescue Serve to Save Lives in Time, HERS for short.
Right.
But honestly, this document, it's way more than just legal stuff. It's like a blueprint. It shows you the heart, the detailed plan, the real purpose behind HERS. They're working on human development in some really tough places.
Exactly. It's like a roadmap for saving lives.
Yeah.
Building resilience.
Definitely. Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, absolutely. These foundational documents, constitutions and the like, they really do give you an incredible window. It's not just the rules. It's the philosophy, the values, the whole strategic approach. It tells you what truly drives them.
Right. Understanding this gives you the why behind everything else.
It's the backbone.
So we get the big picture idea, but what really pushed them to start HERS? Let's look at the preamble in their constitution. It paints this really vivid, honestly quite tough picture. It talks about broken and at-risk families dealing with high poverty levels. And this statistic really jumped out at me.
Which one was that?
That about 1/4 of adults in the country are illiterate. And that this reality pushes a lot of young people onto the streets.
Wow. Yeah, that's stark. And, when you read things like that, you see exactly why grassroots groups like HERS get started.
Yeah.
It's those harsh realities that often spark action. Their founders saw these deep problems, and they explicitly undertook to support, promote, build, and defend fundamental human rights.
And for everyone, right, regardless of status, gender, anything.
Exactly. Status, gender, sex, nationality, religion, political belief.
Yeah.
It's all in there. And it's not just about, handouts. It's a fundamental commitment to human development.
Both inside the country and beyond, they say.
Within the country and beyond.
And that line about wanting to be a sign of hope, that says so much right from the start. It's a powerful mission statement in itself.
It really does set a high bar. And you can see how that flows right into their main statements, the vision, mission, purpose, goal. Their vision is, well, it's pretty ambitious. To create, build, empower, and raise a society where every at-risk family has the opportunity to thrive, moving beyond just survival.
Right. Transforming into resilient families, free from poverty, abuse, neglect. That's the core of it.
And making sure kids and families get support for strong, stable, and loving relationships.
And what's so insightful there, I think, is how it's not just about addressing poverty. It's about getting at the roots, through empowerment, through systemic change. It's baked right into their philosophy.
Yeah, it's not just a list of things they do.
No, it's strategic. It aims for that long-term transformation, which you absolutely need in these complex situations.
Okay, so that's the vision. What about the mission? How do they define that? Their mission statement is very direct. To provide comprehensive support and services to at-risk families, focused on empowering them.
Empowering them to overcome challenges, achieve self-sufficiency. That seems key.
Absolutely. And they mentioned giving equal attention for peace, education, health, and financial support. Plus, this idea of radical care for the most vulnerable orphans, broken families.
Radical care. That's interesting phrasing. And their purpose, nice and simple. To reach all and rescue at-risk families.
Succinct.
And finally, the goal ties it all together. To improve the leaving, I think they mean living of the at-risk broken families.
Right, and the conditions for vulnerable indigenous people, men, women, children, who are just overwhelmed, stuck. To give them restoration of hope.
Hope, restoration. Powerful.
You really hear it in all those statements, don't you? It moves way beyond just simple aid. The focus is so clearly on empowerment, on resilience, on transformation. It really shapes everything they do and sets a high standard for how they operate.
So we have this powerful mission, this vision. How does HERS actually put it into action? The practical stuff. Where do they work? What are the key areas?
Okay, so their head office is in Whay County, South Sudan. And their reach extends within the indigenous communities of South Sudan and beyond the nation. So a broad scope.
And their main focus areas?
They list 4 key conceptual areas: peace building, education, youth development, and child protection. Pretty comprehensive.
Okay, so let's break down their objectives. How do they tackle these areas?
Well, first things first, they address immediate needs. You see objectives around providing emergency assistance, things like food, shelter, blankets, clothing. basic survival stuff.
That makes sense. You have to cover the basics first.
Exactly. That immediate relief is absolutely vital.
And then once those immediate crises are handled, how do they build towards that longer-term stability you mentioned? What are the programs?
Right. The next level is all about empowerment. They focus on fostering family stability through counseling, education, and job training.
Practical skills, support systems.
Precisely. And for kids, a really big objective is preventing abuse and neglect. They do that through things like parenting classes, support groups, and home visits.
And they don't do it alone, right? They mentioned community.
Yeah, that's key. Fostering community engagement through partnerships. And they also have an objective focused on constantly evaluating and improving their services, which is important for impact.
Okay, now this approach section, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. It starts with this phrase, "We care radically." What does that mean to them?
Well, they define themselves as a Christian organization committed to basically taking bold action, stepping out in faith, as they put it, reaching families who might otherwise be kind of shawled up with trauma and poverty, hidden away.
Shawled up. That's evocative language. Okay, care radically.
Okay.
Then what?
Then they talk about how we empower sustainable projects. This is where the tangible skill building comes in.
Right, you mentioned job training earlier. What kind of skills are we talking about?
It's a really wide range. Things like sewing clothes, farming, general livelihood skills, welding, carpentry, even computer learning, and house construction. Really practical stuff.
Wow, that's diverse. And they target specific groups?
Yes, they explicitly mention involving vulnerable groups, like people with disabilities, returnees from exile in Uganda who are refugees, and families who've lost people, like widows and orphans.
So really focusing on those who need it most.
Exactly. And then there's the whole section on their holistical activities. I think they mean holistic activities.
So covering multiple angles.
Absolutely. So it's fascinating how broad it is. It's not just, one thing. They offer trauma healing and counseling, presumably counseling.
Okay, so mental health support is in there.
Plus building or renovating houses and shelters, providing essentials like clothes, shoes, blankets, especially for orphans.
And for the youth. You mentioned youth development earlier.
Yeah, the life skills training for youth is incredibly varied. Livelihoods, agriculture, house building, carpentry, welding, sewing, even saloon program hairdressing.
Hairdressing really is comprehensive, isn't it? Trying to equip people in so many ways.
It is. But what really struck me as unique is this initiative for creating friendly space for the vulnerable children and orphans.
Friendly spaces. What's the goal there?
It's designed so these kids can associate, connect, network, socialize, and to freely share their problems. It sounds like creating a safe community space for them.
That sounds incredibly important for kids dealing with trauma.
Definitely. And the goal goes beyond just sharing problems. It's about helping them connect to their faith, culture, and heritage, maintaining their identity.
That cultural connection piece is interesting. How do they foster that?
Through a whole range of activities. They list Bible studies, music, cultural dance and drama, even making live laughing comedies.
Comedies. That's unexpected, but probably really helpful.
Right. Also, biblical storytelling, culturally relevant stories, raising awareness about gender-based violence and sports. It's a real mix.
Wow. When you lay it all out like that, it's incredibly multifaceted.
It really is. If you connect this back to their mission, you see it's not just addressing one symptom. It's tackling these interconnected challenges head on. You've got the immediate relief, the long-term skills, the psychosocial support, the cultural preservation. It's truly holistic.
Yeah, aiming to empower people with tools for life, not just a temporary fix, and fostering that sense of community, too.
Exactly. It's like they're rebuilding the whole foundation, not just patching holes. That's crucial for sustainable changes, especially in places that have been through so much.
Okay, so to support all these ambitious goals and activities, you need a solid foundation, right? Values, structure. What does HARS stand for at its core, and how are they actually set up?
Good question. Their core believing values are laid out very clearly, and they form this strong ethical compass for everything they do.
What kind of values are we talking about?
Well, things like God at the center, which reflects their identity as a Christian organization. Then excellence in performance, partnership, teamwork, and integrity.
Integrity. How do they define that?
They have this really powerful phrase attached to it, for the people, to the people, and with the people, which really emphasizes community ownership and participation.
That's strong. What else?
Also, open communication, fear of God, and diversity. So it's a blend of faith-based principles and, solid organizational values.
And these aren't just words on paper, presumably.
You'd hope not. The idea is that these values inform every decision, every interaction,
Hmm.
emphasizing ethical work, collaboration, and respect.
Okay, so that's the ethical framework. How does that translate into, like, the nuts and bolts, the structure? How is HARS actually organized?
It's quite detailed, actually. Let's start with membership.
Who can be a member?
It's open to all citizens, 18 and up. And they have different types: founder members, ordinary members, and honorary members.
Honorary members. Are they different?
Yeah, they're recognized for their contributions, but the Constitution specifically says they have no voting right.
Interesting distinction. And can membership end?